Hello everybody, welcome back to another collection video. This is the Dreamcast collection, and this is my second attempt at trying to record this. I deleted the first one by accident. I think I'm going to split this into two, to be honest, because it went on too long. So I think what we'll do first of all in this video is we'll do the games I've got PAL American and the Repro games I've got for it. So this is just for you, Stu. Right, I think I'm not going to dwell too long because it's going to go on too long otherwise. We'll start with the Repros, I think. Well, I say Repros. First one we've got is Dolphin Blue, which is what I've got on the screen up here. This never actually came out, officially at the time. And it's since been sort of leaked onto the net as a ROM, I think, in more recent years anyway. So you can emulate it, obviously. But this is really good. It's kind of like Metal Slug, as you'll see from the footage. Really good game. Sort of, well, as you can see, it's like an underwater Metal Slug type mixed with Metal Slug. Really good game. Definitely want to check out. Then the next one I've got. Now these are technically Repros now, because you could get these back in the day. We've got Yu Suzuki Gameworks. Now I do really want the original of this, so there's a possibility in the future, maybe. Somebody knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, this is brilliant. We've got 5 arcade versions of absolute 80s Sega classics. You've got Outrun, Afterburner, Power Drift, Space Harrier, and the original Hang On. Which Hang On was the predominant reason I bought this, because I've got means to play all the others, but Hang On never got released on anything except this. So it's awesome to play that on here. But I would like the proper one, like I say. I regret not buying it a few weeks ago. It comes in like a large book format. So that's on hold at the moment. Hopefully that's going to appear fairly shortly. Then the next one we've got, this is not a Repro as such, because it's another one of these sort of modern games for the Dreamcast. And it's one of the Beats of Rage games. The open source Streets of Rage engine has been translated into many different sort of IPs, if you like. So this is a Splatterhouse version. Really good, to be honest. I mean, they all do more or less the same thing, obviously. But this is just Streets of Rage 2 set to the Splatterhouse universe. Really good. Oh no, this one isn't a Repro. A few of the later Japanese Dreamcast games came out in DVD size cases, which is what this is. And we've got Cosmic Smash. Really great game this is, and it's like in a lovely sort of clear, almost see-through case and cover. It's a really hard game to describe, really. It's a rhythm-based game, kind of mixed with the game Squash. Really cool game. Only ever came out Japanese. Cosmic Smash, cracking game. Right, now we are on to proper Repros. I mean, there are still Dreamcast games I want, and if the right opportunity came up, I would replace these Repros with proper ones if possible, but realistically speaking, they're all quite expensive, hence why I've bought the Repro versions. So we've got Under Defeat, which is a fantastic vertical shooter, but you can get this on the Xbox 360 and PS3. It's just got a bit of a strange mechanic where your helicopter moves and that alters the direction of your fire. It's kind of weird to get your head round. I certainly haven't mastered it, but it's a really nice game. I should have said, this is Raiden Fighters on the Xbox 360. Phenomenal game. Then we've got Rainbow Cotton. This is really cool as well. Obviously aware of the Cotton games, but this is more of a 3D based one, more like Space Harrier. I really like this, really cutesy, just like the Cotton games, but it's into the screen, like I say, like Space Harrier. I think it's really good. You could argue that the main sprite gets in the way of your view of what's going on, but aside from that, cracking game. I think there's a modern collection of this on the Switch and PS4 possibly. That's one I'd like to track that down really. Then next up we've got Vampire Chronicle, which is a collection of the Darkstalkers games. Obviously the Capcom was amazing on the Saturn. It's the king of the 2D fighters on the Saturn, and that kind of translated onto the Dreamcast as well, and this is another one. Great games, Darkstalkers, so if you like them, Vampire Chronicle is a definite play. Then next up we've got Plasma Sword, which is Star Gladiator 2, which was on the PS1. 3D arena based fighter like Virtua Fighter. I actually think this is really good. I like the PS1 version as well. I did buy this original a few months back. Unfortunately it was faulty and I had to send it back, and I hadn't seen it again since for a reasonable price, so hence I bought the Repro. Next up we've got JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Again another Capcom game, 2D fighter this time. I'm not keen on this, to be honest. It's a bit of an acquired taste, I don't know. It's a traditional 2D fighter, but you've kind of got this like alter ego that comes onto the screen. No, it's not doing it for me. But I mean, I can understand it's good, but it's just not for me, that one. And then we've got a shooter, Border Down, quite expensive for a genuine one, unfortunately. Horizontal shooter, this one, really good. It's got a bit of a mechanic where you know if you lose a life kind of thing, you go down a level and then you go down a level rather than die. Very good, quite difficult. And then we've got another shooter, vertical this time. We've got Chaos Field. This is a milestone game. Now this is really good. It's also on the GameCube. I think I've got it on the GameCube actually. I think. I'm sure this is the boss rush game. I'm sure it is. Yeah, I'm sure this is the boss rush game. So rather than traditional levels, it's more or less boss after boss after boss. Again, really good. Then we've got Frame Gride. Now this is kind of a 3D mech sort of combat style game. But I bought this. You can get the genuine one cheap. But I bought this one because it's like an English patch, so you can actually understand what's going on this a lot better. And it's by From Software, which a lot of people love. I know Mark, you know, he's a massive fan, but this is obviously one of their very early games. And yeah, it's decent sort of mech combat 3D action game. Better to play it in English really. Another shooter next, Ikaruga. I used to have this genuine, unfortunately sold it, and now it's quite pricey. Also on the GameCube, and obviously it's on modern download platforms. Classic Treasure vertical shooter, where you've got the two different colour bullets and you can change the colour of your ship to be unaffected by the same colour bullets. Really great game, I think. Really like this. Again, it's difficult, but all shooters are to me, to be fair. Then another vertical shooter, we've got Repro. Again, this is on the GameCube. I love the look of this. It's kind of a cel-shaded graphics style look to it. Quite unusual looking for a shooter, really. And it is good. I don't know, there's something about it to me that stops it being great. I love the look of it, I just don't love the play of it as much as the look of it, if you get what I mean. You can get this on modern platforms as well, or a later version of it. I was looking at it on the Switch the other day, actually. I'm tempted. It's called Repro something, I forgot now. But yeah, it looks lovely. If you like that kind of bright, colourful, cel-shaded graphics look, anyway. And then we've got Bang-I-Oh. This is another Treasure game. Also, it came out on the N64 first, and it's mega expensive on that, which is why I bought this. And it is really good, this, but it don't seem to control that well with the Dreamcast controller to me. I'm wondering if it's better with the N64 controller, which is why that one's so much more expensive. Kind of a very unique, you call it a shooter really, but it's not like a scrolling shooter in the sense that it auto scrolls. You can go where you want, and you know the characters are quite small, and it looks kind of more like a twin stick shooter really. Really good. You know, I think it's quite cheap. PAL as well, that one. Another vertical shooter, we've got Mars Matrix. Now this is really good, but this is really difficult for me. It's a Capcom game. Unusually, they don't, you know, you associate them with shooters, fighters, don't you? Not shooters. But it's really good, this Mars Matrix. Vertical again. I'm not sure on cost of this one. I think it's quite pricey. Again, hence the Repro. Then next up we've got Cannon Spike. This is another Capcom game, and another really, really good game this is. Unfortunately this is mega expensive, PAL especially. Up to £300 I think it is from memory. Absolute belting game, Cannon Spike. Then we've got another shooter. We've got Gunbird 2. First one was on the Saturn. Again, Capcom shooter. So they had a bit of a spurt on shooters at this period in their life. I don't know if it's just Capcom produced actually, this, rather than a Capcom game. Anyway, regardless, it's really good. Because this is on the Psycho collection, isn't it, on the Switch? So it might just be, I think that's Capcom produced, maybe not made. Anyway, Gunbird 2, brilliant. And then we've got Gigawing 2, which again is another vertical shooter, really good. And we've also got Gigawing 1, which again is another vertical shooter. Both really good. It is good for vertical shooters, shooters in general, the Dreamcast. Just the Saturn's better, but the Dreamcast is really good. Right, now we've got another game that never came out at the time, and we've got Propeller Arena, which is basically a plain dogfighting game. Very arcade. It was all made and finished and everything and set for release, but then those awful attacks happened in America and it never got released. It got shelved, and you know, it never saw the light of day up until more recent times when the ROM got leaked, and hence you can now play it. I mean, it's quite sort of simplistic. It's just taking down a set amount of enemies within the play area, and there's sort of power-ups and pure Sega arcade goodness. Propeller Arena, definitely one to recommend in my opinion. Then we've got Project Justice, which is another Capcom fighter. Rival Schools 2 is it, I think, or 3. Project Rival Schools 2, I think. Yeah, classic Capcom fighter. Again, really good. And again, I think that's really dear, pal, as I remember. And we've got another shooter. We've got Tri-Zeal. This is really good. I like this. Again, a vertical shooter. And there are sequels to this on the Xbox 360, which I would like to track down at some point. This is another vertical shooter, but this is more bullet hell, and I don't think I got on with this one very well, as I remember. This is Trigger Heart Excelsior. And this is another one of the later games that did come out, the official versions, in a big DVD case like this. But like I say, it's bullet hell. No PAL version as far as I am aware. This is another one I used to have and unfortunately sold, and regret it ever since. Res, which is another rhythm based game, absolute class. I've rebought it on the PS2 because it's much cheaper, the Japanese PS2 version. But I wished I'd kept the Dreamcast one. It's unfortunately quite expensive now. Then we've got a classic, Space Channel 5 Part 2. One of Glenn's favourites. Belting, again another rhythm based dance game with everyone's favourite Ooh La La. You can't go wrong with a bit of Space Channel 5, great game. Then we've got, I picked this up quite recently actually, we've got Sega Bass Fishing 2. I'm not a massive fishing fan or anything, but the pure arcade nature of Sega Bass Fishing is really good, especially if you've got the fishing rod controller. And there's only 3 fishing games on the Dreamcast you can use with it, as I am aware of. This is the second one. Sega Marine Fishing, again more of the same really. Not much to say about it. Heavy Metal Geomatrix, another Capcom game. Now this one is more sort of, it's 3D arena based, more kind of like, what would you say, Power Stone with guns maybe. Really good. You can't go wrong with the Capcom stuff in all honesty. Unfortunately I think this one's quite pricey as well. An absolute classic. We've got Fatal Fury, Mark of the Wolves. Love Fatal Fury. This is just mega. And this was a much cheaper way of getting it than the Neo Geo version. So definitely the way forward on that one. Then the last repro we've got is San Francisco Rush 2049, which is a bog standard arcade racer really. I never had this back in the day. I'd imagine it would have been quite good back then, but now it's kind of, it's very mediocre, nothing special about it in my opinion. Like I say, I think if I'd had it at the time, I would have liked that a lot more. Right, move my feet, I've gone to sleep. Look at the PAL games I've got now. I've not got too many PAL games to be honest. These first 2 are sort of modern games that have recently been released, and we've got Yeah Yeah Beebies, which is a very 8-bit looking NES game, because I think that's how it started life. Decent little sort of single screen arcade game, nothing spectacular. And then we've got Rush Rally Reloaded, which is really, really good. Big fan of this. The soundtrack's amazing, and it does. This version does actually come with a soundtrack. on the second CD. Cracking overhead micro machine style game. Really, really good that is. We've also got by the same Wave Game Studios, we've also got an Intrepid Easy demo. I've not actually tried that. I believe it's supposed to be good actually. Right then, the official original PAL games I've got then. We've got Snowcross Championship Racing, which is basically a snowmobile racer. Reasonable. Not a bad game at all. It's aged a bit, but really not bad if you like arcade racing. It's obviously all on the snow, so you know there's a lot of sort of power sliding, if you like. Now this is an absolute classic, Hydro Thunder. Loved this back in the day. Brilliant game. Again, pure arcade speedboat racing. Still brilliant to this day. I keep meaning to try the N64 version actually, because that's supposed to be really good. But it was based on an arcade. This fantastic game, and there's a few in this series by Midway. You've got Hydro Thunder being that one, and then you've also got Four Wheel Thunder, which is exactly the same principle, only you're driving four-wheel drive cars on land instead of powerboats on the water. But it's exactly the same kind of game, and it's another cracking arcade racer, that one. It's very much kind of, you can pick up turbos, and progress is essential. Picking up turbos is essential to progress in the game. There is another one like I say in that series, which on the Xbox, called Arctic Thunder, and again that's really good. That is kind of snowmobile racing, much like that Snowcross. Loved this back in the day. Surf Rocket Racers, which is a jet ski racer. Again, very arcadey. Kind of similar to Sega's own Wave Runner, that never come out the arcade, unfortunately. But I mean, it's still good, don't get me wrong, but the water on it is very bland compared with Wave Race. Wave Race, you know, dumps on this from a great height in terms of the sort of the realism. That's the word I was looking for. The realism of the water on Wave Race is far better than this, but it's still a decent game, to be honest. Then we've got an absolute classic, Wacky Races. Now this is a traditional kart racer, but the graphics are beautiful on this. Absolutely stunning. They still look amazing. Beautiful bright colours. Fantastic game. And who doesn't like Wacky Races? It's the best cartoon ever made for me. I rarely touch these UK Dreamcast boxes because you've only got to look at them and they fall to bits, haven't you? Handling them, I'm expecting one of these to explode in my face in a minute. Speed Devils. Again, I used to love this back in the day. It's not aged so well, this one. Traditional arcade sort of racing game, really. It's still alright. Now this was stunning at the time. The graphics were amazing. Le Mans 24 hour. And it's still a decent game to this day, to be honest. This is obviously more of a realistic track racer, and it did get released on the PS2 at a later date, which I've also got. But it's a nice looking game on the Dreamcast, that is. Then this I picked up in more recent years after seeing somebody play it on YouTube, and it passed me by in the day. Extreme Sports, and it's really good. This is very arcadey. It's just a racing game essentially, but it's played out in like a relay format, where you'll start off in one vehicle and then you'll get to the checkpoint and you'll swap to another vehicle, and then you get to the checkpoint and another vehicle, and so on. I think there's 4 vehicles altogether. you've got hang gliding, snowboarding, biking, is it? Yeah, biking and quad biking. Honestly, that is really good, and I think it's quite cheap. That is a definite buy, I'd say. If you like arcade races, that's a great game. This is another good game, Millennium Soldier, or Expendable it's called on Japanese. And this is like a twin stick shooter. Cracking game this is, I think. Again, I don't think this is expensive. That's a great Dreamcast game to buy if you like that kind of thing. Right, then we'll finish off with my few American games. I haven't got many of these. First up, we've got Demolition Racer, and this is exclusive to America on the Dreamcast, unfortunately, hence why I've had to buy American. It's really not bad at all. This is kind of like Destruction Derby. It's really quite a decent game. Shame it never came out. Well, I say it ain't come out, pal. It might, I don't know. It's certainly not available Japanese anyway. But I think it's American only. And then we've got Vanishing Point. Again, this is much like that other one I mentioned. What was it? I can't think now. Speed Devils. Yeah. I think if I'd experienced it at the time. No, San Francisco 2049, that's the one I was thinking of. It's much like that. I think if you'd have played it at the time, this would have been really quite good. But going to it fresh recently, it's very average, and it's showing its age, but I suppose it's an okay arcade racer. And then one I picked up just a few days ago, we've got Revolt. Now this is really good, remote control car racing, but from the viewpoint of a normal standard arcade racing game. Really nice game, and it still looks good to this day, to be honest. That's a definite buy, I'd say, if you like arcade races. And then the last game in this video, I'm going to finish on one of my favourites. One of my favourite games on the Dreamcast, and it was a launch game, but this is the American version. And we've got Pen Triicelon, which is insanely wacky, insanely Japanese. But I had to buy the American version just so as I could have English text when I had the chance recently. It's madness, but it's brilliant madness. It's racing, and you know, you're a little penguin dude. If you love racing, you know, this is fantastic, honestly. And I think it's reasonably priced. Mega good game. And I think we'll leave it there for this video. We're about halfway through, so at some point in the next few days I'll put up the second part, which will be all my Japanese games, my official sort of regular games, and that'll form the second part of the video and sum up the Dreamcast collection in total. Thanks for watching anyway. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know any of your thoughts in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that loveliness. But we'll see you shortly on part 2, all being well. Thanks for watching. Sayonara.